I think about this topic more than you would probably think. So, got this from a Locked On Ducks insider. If you want to submit a take for Spencer's scale of agreement, you can do that. YouTube comments, Twitter, become an insider, get priority access. You want to submit a mailbag question, or you just want to say hello or tell me I'm a buffoon, you can do it in all of those ways. So, hot take, Will Stein will leave after this year and Novosad will follow him. I don't think it's that hot of a take. I really don't. So one job that I have discussed in the past as a potential for Will Stein to be the head coach of is Stanford. Watch to see what happens down there in Palo Alto. Stanford, by the way, has more recruiting power than you'd think. They currently have a top 25 class. They've pulled top 25 high school classes in the past. They're using the transfer portal now that Andrew Luck is there and saying, hey, we have to do this to be competitive. So that job is not, it doesn't appear to be as unappealing as it did a year ago at this time. The introduction of Andrew Luck is a significant one. So that's definitely a job. And for Stein, who's really made a name for himself as an offensive coordinator at Oregon out on the West Coast, plenty of ties up and down in the state of California and beyond. Yeah, that could make plenty of sense if you're the Cardinal and you wanted to hire, a young up-and-coming coach like Stein, who's not even 40 years old. I don't even know if he's 35, actually. He is, let's see, he's 35. He is 35. He's born in September. Greatest month of the year for a birthday anyway. That's when mine is, hence why I say that. But Stein and Novosad leaving together, on Spencer's scale of agreement, 7. I give that a solid 7 because, something that I always point out whenever Novosad comes up here on the show is that he was not recruited to Oregon to be a backup quarterback. The Ducks could not possibly have known. I don't care how much 3, 4, or 7-dimensional chess you think coaching staffs or Oregon staff can play. They could not possibly have known that Dante Moore would wind up transferring back to Oregon one day. Obviously, they were ready for that possibility when it presented itself, but they recruited Novosad because they thought, okay, Dante Moore's going to UCLA. We need someone who we believe can be a starting quarterback one day. And I think from what we've seen, it's been very limited in game action. Novosad looks like he has all the tools to be able to do that. I mean, in the spring games, man, he has got some elite high-level ball placement. I mean, he and Dante Moore just haven't been that different in the 2 spring games where, we've seen them both play, which is last year and this year. So I am really, really impressed and really, really high on Novosad. And who recruited him? Will Stein. That's the only guy that has ever been his quarterback's coach / offensive coordinator. Stein, of course, does both for the Ducks. And depending on how the season goes, can certainly affect how hot of a name Will Stein is as a potential head coaching candidate. Generally, guys that move up to be coordinators in their early 30s want to be head coaches one day. We saw that with Kenny Dillingham. You can look at Brennan Marion, who is now the head coach at Sacramento State after being at UNLV for the last couple of years. He could have stayed on there as the offensive coordinator with Dan Mullen and the new staff, but he didn't want to. He wanted to be a head coach. That's just a pretty typical trajectory in the coaching world. So the idea that Stein would take Novosad with him, not crazy whatsoever. Because in 2026, I hope Dante Moore is back. It would not be bad news if he isn't, though. If Dante Moore isn't back, the most likely scenario that leads to that is he was so unbelievably good. He outperforms my expectations. He's a Heisman finalist, and the NFL looks at him, Mitch Trubisky style, and says, yeah, you only started 1 full year in college, but we think you're good enough to just come out in the NFL right here, right now. That's what would lead to Novosad sticking around. I think he is too talented. Seems like a really good dude, good head on his shoulders, and I've never heard anybody say a bad word about him. And so if you're Will Stein and you take a head coaching gig somewhere, well, what's the first thing you got to figure out? Who's my coaching staff going to be and who's my team going to be? And wouldn't it be nice to bring a quarterback with you who you are incredibly familiar with and who you know, whatever school you're going to, is talented enough to go there and start and is hungry for an opportunity. He wouldn't have to learn a new system. He'd, of course, have to get acclimated to his new teammates and whatnot. But yeah, I think the two of them going somewhere together, not some outlandishly crazy thought or hot take, certainly not a guarantee, because maybe Stein goes and becomes a head coach at, I don't know, give me a random G5, here's one. Think about this. Let's say Jeff Traylor, the head coach at UTSA, gets hired to be the head coach at Baylor if they fire Dave Aranda because he regresses this year. That's possible. Not likely, but possible. If that takes place, Will Stein is going to be near the top of their list because he was their co-offensive coordinator while he was there. And been the offensive coordinator at Oregon, next step likely to be a head coach. So, yeah, I think that all is within the realm of possibility, but maybe Stein sees that as the place that he wants to go, and he goes to Austin and says, I want you to come with me, and Austin says, I've got an offer from a Power 4 school over here. They're going to be able to offer me more money, and I'm, guaranteed to be the starter as well. So they wouldn't be a lock to go together. But, I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think it's a really, really interesting take. My theory is that in 2026, Austin Novosad will be the starting quarterback for the Baylor Bears. I'd rather he stays at Oregon because, gosh almighty, he seems like he could be the Brian Bennett of backup quarterbacks, who is forever and always my dream backup quarterback. But, I think that those two guys can simultaneously stay at Oregon as long as they want and be really important parts of the football program. And if they choose to, they can go have their own ventures not literally anywhere, but a lot of other places, because there might just be other guys. Like Will Stein's not going to be the head coach at Oregon. Austin Novosad, if Dante Moore comes back, probably won't be the starting quarterback at Oregon, unless, of course, he winds up surprising us all and starting this year. So that would be a surprise to many, myself included. But I do not think you are crazy whatsoever for thinking they could be a package deal. That'd be a pretty good package deal for a school to bring in. That would be pretty darn good. So more takes to get to today. More takes indeed. How many NFL draft picks will Oregon have? Could they set another record? No, they couldn't. Oh wait, yeah, they could.